Sorry about that. In case you didn't hear that, the recording is in progress.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Gainesville Tuesday meeting at the Cade Museum. Please silence your cell phones, and if you're watching on YouTube, please register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. Please join me in welcoming Tom Collette to lead us in song and pledge.
Hi, everybody. Ready to get your singing voices on? Good to see Harvey Ward today. I got to see him on Saturday. That was pretty special, wasn't it? We're still celebrating in Gainesville, aren't we? Let's sing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Are you ready? My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Now please join me as we pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For our invocation today, Ernie Hall.
Thank you very much. No jokes this morning. We want to keep Frank Mason in our prayers. Having lost Cindy, I'm going to read a little bit of her obituary this morning for us. It says, it's with heavy hearts that we share the passing of Cindy Northrop Mason on April 1st, 2025 at the age of 66. Cindy's kindness, laughter, and love touched everyone who had the privilege of knowing her. Cindy fought a courageous battle with breast cancer and took on each day with amazing grace and strength. She was a compassionate and caring wife, mother, sister, daughter, and friend to all who knew her. She had the ability to bring everyone a smile and make them feel like they were the most important person in the room. Her heart was so big as her love for life. She made a lasting impact on everyone that she met. There's going to be a celebration of life that'll be held at 12:30 on Saturday, May 24th at the Evans Club at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. So we need to keep Frank, a member of our club, in our prayers this morning. Let's pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come with a burdened heart for Frank and for his family. Lord, we just ask that you would enfold him in your love, that you would bring tender care during these days and months ahead. Lord, we ask that you would bless our club, bless each member here. We thank you, Lord, for our speaker, the mayor. We ask that you would just bless him and the efforts that he and the city council plan for the future of this great community that we live in. Lord, we just ask that you would surround us all in your love, your care, and pour out your blessings on our community. We pray our prayer this morning. Amen.
If you would please be seated, we invite guests and traveling Rotarians to remain standing so you can introduce yourselves to our club. And Greg will be right around with the microphone.
Fellow Rotarians, Jay Nordquist, I am pleased to have as my guest today Josh Elder, and our longtime member, Steve Elder, is here, which is his dad. Josh is with Gainesville Carpets, and we are trying to see if he'll join us. His father was a longtime Rotarian and retired from the group back in August of last year, so please welcome them both.
Excuse me. My name's Gary Ellison. I have an application in, but I don't know if I'm a member yet. I usually come with Colin Burrows, who has sponsored me, but it's good to be here. Thank you.
Fellow Rotarians, today I have with me Philip Geary. Philip, it's his first day at the food bank today. He is our new volunteer manager, so he's going to be revolutionizing our volunteer program. And I know many of you know him. He worked with Weeby Marketing for many, many years. So excited to have him here and have him on the team. So please welcome.
Hello, everybody. I'm bringing back Samantha Howell. She works with Three Rivers Legal Aid here in town, does great work helping people who can't afford legal representation find people like me to work for them for free. So if you know anybody who needs legal representation and can't afford it, she's the one. Or wants to volunteer their legal services.
Thank you all for joining us today. We'll have a quick announcement from Greg Young and then a special poem from Mr. John Gregory.
Good afternoon. By popular demand, we are going to have a fun and fellowship at the Hippodrome Theater for one of their sip and strolls. And the way that works, it's set for Thursday, April 24th. Mark your calendars, Thursday, April 24th. That's a week from this Thursday. 5:30 p.m. is the gathering time till 6. If you would like to have a drink at the cash bar there, you're welcome to come before the tour starts at 6 to 8 p.m., and we will tour the 1911 Federal Building, which is now the Hippodrome. These are fundraisers for the Hippodrome, so they charge $25 per person, but I've been asked by a lot of people if we can make this happen, so hopefully you'll sign up and join us. Thank you.
This one is called Easter Bunnies. At Easter, to church we go like centuries. We enable all people. That'll be plenty. My church accepts all folks. Any denominations, no jokes. Preferring, by all means, 10s and 20s. A five-year-old son of a preacher who knows, when burying a dead robin, he shows, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and Father, and into the hole he goes. Greg Young always had his problems and fears. The Easter Bunny was brought in for cheers. Bunny's always happy. He's never crappy. And everyone needs a friend with all ears. Marie Chance opened the fridge, saw Bunny nesting. The Easter Bunny continued contesting. She wanted him out. This is a Westinghouse. Well, you see, he said, I'm just Westing. Happy Easter.
And now, please welcome Jay Nordquist to the podium.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. As Rotary Paul Harris Fellow Committee Chair, I had the distinct honor of honoring one of our longtime members. And this is someone that's been involved in the club since 1990. And he was brought here by his son today, Josh. And so Steve, after having been a member since 1990, and having contributed so much to our club, being involved in the Wild Game Feast, being actively involved in our club, and also supporting the foundation over the years, I'd like for you to come up here to receive your Paul Harris Fellow +4 pin, which means that he has contributed over $5,000 to the foundation. So please give him a round of applause. Steve, we're so glad you're here. We miss you. We want you to come back to the club. Again, thank you, Steve, for all you did for the Rotary Club, and we want you back. And Josh, follow in his footsteps.
And before we get to our program today, we have a special craft talk from Jeff Sims. Jeff has been a member of this club for 36 years. He's currently serving as our treasurer. And please join me in welcoming Jeff to give us an update since his last craft talk.
Thank you, Jenna. Pizza Bill cornered me about a month ago. And how long have you been in the club? I said, I don't know, 35 years. He said, you're going to give a legacy craft talk. So I don't know about the legacy part. It makes me feel old. But excuse me if I have to read some of this. So here we go. After high school, I opted to skip college and travel on the road with our band, Dixie Desperados. We traveled across the United States for 4 years, from 1976 to 1980. While in the band, I was responsible for playing both lead guitar and being the bookkeeper. Yeah. We were rationed $5 a day for food money, so not much. But there were many days where the other members, not me, wanted an advance on their food money so they could buy beer. But I resisted and was given the first band nickname by them, Krabby Appleton. I entered Santa Fe College after my touring days were over and earned an associate's degree in accounting. Then moved to Miami, continued my school at FAU, and was given a job in the tax department at Price Waterhouse, which is a Big 8 accounting firm back then. Well, school was not motivating me. I did not like accounting. Why are you in accounting school? So I moved back to Gainesville and completed my degree at UF as an adult in journalism. And in 1988, I opened Sims Music and Sound and enjoyed running a sound contracting and guitar shop for 21 years. Well, I still wasn't really getting along and needed a dependable income, so I decided to work for others. And I was invited to take the position as executive director of the North Central Florida Safety Council, where I still am working part-time as their bookkeeper. I also opened a repair bench to do guitar repairs at a new little shop called Funky Music, and it is funky. But there are two young guys who've opened it, and they wanted to bring the old man in to give them some advice. So I'm having a good time there. Just starting my own band to get back into live performance. We're going to do all of our original songs and hope to be playing a few shows a year here in Gainesville. But mainly I'll say today, I joined Rotary in 1989 and has served as an officer or committee chair that pretty much the whole time. This Rotary Club has brought me many friends into my life, and I'm very grateful for that. It's so good to be able to talk here in front of my brothers and sisters. So thank you. That's me.
Thank you, Jeff. Be sure to let us know where we can find you playing around town. And now, please join me in welcoming our president, Ryan Thompson.
Hey, good afternoon. It's wonderful to see all these guests here. Josh, welcome. Steve, congratulations. Glad to see you again. You might notice that Wes and Matthew aren't here today. So can we get a quick round of applause for our AV team? Brendan and Greg Young did an amazing job getting us set up today. Really appreciate your hard work. The board meeting occurred last night, our board of directors. So we do have a new member, Gary Ellison. If you don't, great to see you. Welcome to the club. And also Jonathan Dreyer. I haven't seen, there he is. Hey, Jonathan, how are you? Jonathan comes to us from the Sunrise Club, so welcome. Rotary Youth Exchange, we had the program last week. Just want to remind everybody, think about yourself either hosting one of these wonderful students or your neighbors or friends, be it from church or what have you. It really does add to their experience, and I can't imagine the experiences that they have being in a different country, and it's a two-way street. So appreciate you considering that. And the board also passed a new policy and procedure for board dues. So we will be distributing that out to the club so that you're aware, just bringing some clarity to the procedures of those that are passed on their dues. Pardon me. There are two flyers on your table. One of those is for the Rotary. You'll see that leadership's crossed out. It really is a learning institute. That's something that we've been advocating in our district for a long time, and hopefully it gets to Rotary International and they change the name of that. It's a great opportunity to learn about the breadth of Rotary International, as well as meet others in our district. So if you haven't attended the Rotary Leadership or Learning Institute before, please consider it. Should have one back here in Gainesville, and certainly want to have a strong showing at that one so they continue to bring it to our hometown. And then the other one is for a district conference. That's in June. That's kind of a celebration of the year, and we have announcements and recognition to the different clubs. It really is a fun event. Again, another opportunity to learn about what other clubs in our district are doing and see other members. And with that, I'd like to bring Guy Joplin up to introduce today's speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. It is my honor to introduce our program today. Mayor Harvey Ward was elected mayor of Gainesville in November of 2022 after being first elected to the Gainesville City Commission in March 2017 and re-elected in 2020. Mayor Ward is passionate about growing the middle class across our city, empowering East Gainesville, creating safer and more effective transportation infrastructure, and generally telling the Gainesville story more proudly. Under Mayor Ward's leadership, the city of Gainesville has approved partnerships that will build more than 200 affordable houses, and the city plans to invest more than $40 million in East Gainesville health, transit, recreation, and economic development projects, along with our institutional partners. During Mayor Ward's time at City Hall, the city of Gainesville has placed nearly 2,000 acres inside the city limits into permanent, actively managed conservation. More recently, the city has reduced gun violence by more than 50% and pedestrian and cyclist deaths by 60%, while opening an urgent care clinic in East Gainesville, approving $75 million of private investment for downtown, and passing the most progressive inclusionary zoning ordinance in Florida. Mayor Ward is a native of Gainesville and a graduate of Eastside High, Santa Fe College, and the University of Florida. He worked in Gainesville nonprofit community for decades, formerly serving as executive director of the Holy Trinity Foundation and in several leadership capacities at WUFT. He is married to Jillian Lord Ward, and their 3 daughters attend local public schools here in Gainesville. Please help me welcome Mayor Harvey Ward.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to look around the room and see lots of folks that I've worked with and had fun with and lived around for many, many years. So thank you all for being here. I see about half of the vestry of my church is here today, and lots of folks that I'm used to being with, and lots of folks I have known since my days at WUFT, which were a great time, and I'm really proud to have worked with y'all on those things. Lots of good stories to tell at the City of Gainesville. The best story we have right now, I'm going to crib from Tom Collette, was this past weekend. If y'all were not at Florida Field, you really missed something. Not only was the Orange and Blue game great, but it was really wonderful to be able to celebrate getting a national title back in Gainesville again. And yeah, absolutely. We started what I hope will be the beginning of a new tradition. I was able to give a key to the city to Coach Golden and the basketball team, and I hope that we do lots of those going forward. It's time to start bringing these championships back often enough to have some new traditions around those. As you heard in the lengthy introduction there, one of the things that is most important to me as mayor is telling the Gainesville story better. One of the things we do least well at the City of Gainesville on a consistent basis has been talk about what's good about Gainesville. We all love it here. I mean, if you talk to anybody individually, they'll tell you how much they love Gainesville. You talk to people out on the streets, they like being here, but we don't talk about it much officially. We're all kind of, keep it under a bushel. I don't think that's a good thing. I think we should be talking about how much we love our city and why we love it. I want to give you a few tools to help you understand what's good about this community. Not just a general good feeling, but some real honest to goodness nuts and bolts things that work very, very well in this community. Those things work very well because of folks like you and all the other community groups out here in our community who are out there doing everyday great work in this town. But it's also because we have a lot of really terrific people working for the City of Gainesville. And you elect a small number of us, 7 of us, to direct the work of the city, but there are another 1,100 folks who are out there doing the good work every single day, and you don't notice most of them. If we're doing our jobs right, frankly, you never notice the folks who are really getting the work done because they're just out there making sure that the city moves smoothly. This wonderful park that we have around us, this building and all the other things that you see that you enjoy about Gainesville, those happen because somebody shows up and rolls up their sleeves and does the work for 8 or 10 or 12 hours every single day of the week so we can all enjoy being a part of this community. I will see if I can get this right. There we go. All right, so this is a condensed version of the big State of the City address that I did here in this room back in January, and it's still mostly up to date. I'm going to give you some statistics to go along with some of this stuff, but there's a lot to brag about for our city, and I want you to be able to walk out of here and tell your friends and your family and your coworkers about some of these things. Maybe? I think power's on. There we go. Okay, so these are the folks that you have elected to be the board of your city, basically. I'm mayor, will be until at least next year, and we'll see what happens after that. Brian Eastman is the District 4 commissioner and Mayor Pro Tem. That means if I'm not at a meeting, he runs the meeting. Commissioner Desmond Duncan Walker is the District 1 commissioner. Commissioner Ed Book, who is a Rotarian from another club, is our District 2 commissioner. That's kind of northwest Gainesville. Commissioner Willits, Casey Willits, is the District 3 commissioner. He's mostly southwest. And Commissioner James Ingalls, brand new to the commission. He's an at-large commissioner. And I'm sure every one of you knows Commissioner Cynthia Moore Chestnut, who has served in many capacities in elected office over the years and is now an at-large commissioner on the Gainesville City Commission. Fun story, back in 1996, it may not be fun, but it's an interesting story. I worked for Cynthia Chestnut when she was a state representative. I was her legislative assistant for a little while. So the world comes around in circles. It's an interesting thing to me. These are really, really dedicated public servants, and you should be proud of them. They're also accessible. If you can't find me for whatever reason, one of our city commissioners absolutely will talk to you and try to help whatever issue you may be having. These are our charter officers. We have Cynthia Williams-Curry, who is our city manager. And I'm going to say this about all of them, but I cannot express to you enough how lucky we are to have Cynthia Curry as our city manager. She could be doing this in any city in America. She chooses to be in Gainesville. She's been our city manager for going on 3.5 years now. She really is the best there is. And we should all sleep better at night knowing that she has got the machine running in the right direction. Dan Nee is our city attorney. Nothing but great things to say about him. Stephen Meharry is our city auditor. Again, wonderful at his job. Soraya Folston is our equity director. Kristen Bryant is our city clerk. All these folks could do their jobs anywhere in America, but they choose to be here. And you should feel good about the work that they do and the 1,000+ people who work for them every day. There we go. Obviously, where the rubber meets the road, sort of, for city government is the Gainesville Police Department. They're the folks that we depend on. Police and fire, that's more than half our budget. The Gainesville Police has done some really terrific work over the last few years. We recently were able to increase police salaries at the City Commission, and that makes us, I think, financially the most attractive police department in North Florida. Very, very happy to thank them for their work. But I want to share some statistics with you at this point that they are primarily responsible for. There's some other folks doing good work to do some of this, but if you listen to folks just make snide comments here and there, you might think that we have a real crime problem in this town. But I want to tell you the opposite is true. Last year, we had total violent and property crimes together compared to the previous year. We're down 18.32%. Homicides were down 50%, from 16 to 8 last year, and we've had exactly one homicide, in our city in the last 11 months. One, in a city of about 150,000 people. That just doesn't happen. So if you see someone from GPD, please give them a big handshake and a pat on the back, because they're doing terrific work. Robberies down 5% from the previous year, larceny overall down 11%, rape down 15%, auto theft down 25%, and that has all continued into this year. First quarter of 2025 as compared to the first quarter of 2024, total violent and property crimes down 22% over the previous year's quarter. Homicide down 83% from the previous year's quarter. The numbers just continue to get better. Now, I am well aware that all that could change in a heartbeat. You know, we can brag about it and we feel real good about it, but something horrible could happen this afternoon. But you should, again, sleep better knowing that the good folks from the Gainesville Police Department have got your back. So they're doing terrific work. They've got good backup from our Impact GNV, Gun Violence Prevention Office. The folks that are at Impact GNV have really engaged every department at the city to make sure that the police don't have to do all this on their own, that the community groups who are out there working don't have to do this on their own. They're coordinating all of this, and again, they're having tremendous success. We continue to see unprecedented low rates of gun violence in our community. Now, every now and then somebody will say, well, yeah, murders are down because criminals in Gainesville are a bad shot. No, that's not why. There's less gunfire than there has been, fewer people shot, which means fewer people are dying. And that is because of the good work being done by the community, but really by folks at the city of Gainesville. And I could not be prouder of the work that these folks are doing and the results that they're having for all of us. Gainesville Fire Rescue continues to be as good or better than any fire rescue department you're going to find. They're innovative. They do The work they do keeps your insurance rates lower than they would otherwise be. I know every time I see my insurance bill, I think, oh my goodness, this is out of control, but it ain't because of these folks. Their response rate and their success rate at doing the work they do keeps your rates significantly lower than it would be otherwise. That's the tangible effect of having a terrific fire rescue department. And also, if you have a health emergency at home, these folks really know what to do. They're there for you, they're there quickly, and they're as professional and wonderful a fire rescue department as we could possibly ask for. They've been doing some really innovative work the past few years. We've got the Community Resource Paramedicine Program, which works through GFR. This is a program that has essentially begun to function as a health department for the city of Gainesville. The cities our size generally don't have a health department, but we saw a need, particularly during the pandemic, for some specialized medical work out in the community, and they've been able to do that. And they're recognized around the country for being innovative and saving lives in ways that it's really hard to quantify. But the work they're doing is tremendous, and again, you should be really proud of not only Gainesville Fire Rescue, but the Community Resource Paramedicine Department within that. Safe Streets for All. There we go. Another thing that is due to many, many different departments at the city of Gainesville is that we have reduced traffic deaths in general, but very specifically over the last several years, deaths of pedestrians and cyclists. Florida continues to be the most dangerous state to be a pedestrian or a cyclist, but Gainesville is not. Because we have really leaned into better engineering on our streets, better education, better enforcement, we have seen pedestrian and cyclist deaths in our Vision Zero program go down from, in 2021, 12 pedestrians and cyclists died in our city limits, down to 10 the next year, down to 7 the year after that, to 4 last year. 1 is way too many, but our rate of pedestrian and cyclist deaths is far better than other cities in Florida. And again, that is because folks at the city of Gainesville, people who work for the city of Gainesville, lean in hard and take this all very, very personally. And they are dedicated to getting to Vision Zero, which is an international program to reduce pedestrian and cyclist deaths. But they're serious about getting to zero, and we're getting real close. I know that that is a thing that could come apart this afternoon, but our trends are all good, and they're good because people are doing the work. Well, let's see, what else can we talk about here? Eastside Health and Economic Development Initiative. I'm not sure where that went. There we go. About 2.5, 3 years ago, we started conversations with UF Health and with Alachua County about creating an urgent care center, some kind of health clinic on Hawthorne Road. And UF Health stepped up and said, sure, we'll put a dock in the box out there. Well, that wasn't what the neighborhood wanted. And the neighborhood was not quiet about what they wanted. And the neighborhoods surrounding where the Hawthorne Road Urgent Care Center is now really spoke up to the folks at UF Health and the city and the county. And we all ended up partnering in this space that is not only an urgent care, it also has primary care services, mornings 5 days a week now. It has a community meeting space, it's got an x-ray machine, it's got a lab facility on site, and it is the first such facility in the history of Gainesville east of Waldo Road. So this is no small thing. Most folks in this room, I take for granted that, sure, there are lots of medical facilities in town. Folks living east of Waldo Road have not been able to take that for granted. But now they can, because it's right there and it's happening. That's the beginning of what we're doing on Hawthorne Road, though. The Eastside Health and Economic Development Initiative is part of the larger Cornerstone facility. We'll be breaking ground soon on an RTS transit hub in the same space as the urgent care facility. We're in talks to do a grocery store on site. We're in talks to do some more commercial opportunities there, as well as doctor's offices, all right there on Hawthorne Road, between Hawthorne Road and Southeast 8th Avenue. And just developing out community space there in places where it has not been before. So when we talk about committing $40 million or more to East Gainesville, we're serious about it. This is not just conversation of, oh, we might do this one day. We're doing it right now. It's happening. And I strongly recommend if you get a few free minutes and you don't normally drive down Hawthorne Road, go do that. You will be shocked. It is not the way it was even 2 years ago. I think Buddy Crevasse was a longtime member of this club. And his family donated their former nursery site on Hawthorne Road to UF Health, and they held it for a number of years. And finally, UF Health said, well, if the city and the county will work with us, we can do something really great here. And really great things are happening there. So please take a drive down there. And if you don't drive by it already, get a good look and get a feel for what we're actively doing in East Gainesville. Downtown. So this is artist rendering of what we hope Southwest First Avenue will look like in about a year and a half. We're rebuilding 2 blocks of Southwest First. It's been called the Streetery. We don't know what it's going to be called next. There's actually a poll out there you could be a part of to rename it or whatever. I'm going to call it the Streetery for a long time because I've been using that word for the last 4 years. It's an urban mall, a pedestrian mall is what it's going to be. And I'm really pleased with the way it's taking shape now. I encourage you to watch the progress. An important thing to remember is that much of our stormwater infrastructure downtown is about 120 years old. That includes Southwest First Avenue. And when it rains, even if it's not the rainy season, there are going to be puddles on Southwest First Avenue for about a month or so. That's because we have really bad stormwater downtown because it's 120 years old. It's antique. Stormwater infrastructure should not be an antique historical sort of thing. That should be kept up with, and we are doing that. We're in the process of making this something you all are going to be very, very proud of to fit in with the larger improvements that we're making downtown. One of the things that I hope you have seen if you've been downtown much lately are the Downtown Ambassadors Program. Folks in bright yellow vests who are out doing all the things that you think the city ought to be doing that weren't the responsibility of any city department before the Downtown Ambassadors. They started their work at the beginning of December, and the very first weekend they were on, they saved somebody's life with a Narcan dose. They connected a lost toddler with their family, I mean, like really lost, several blocks, and they directed I don't know how many people to where they were going. They do all the things that we think somebody ought to do. They pick up trash, they help people find a parking space, they help people walk to their cars, they give directions, they help folks who find themselves without a home. They're doing all those little things that just make downtown feel safer and cleaner, and that's a big deal. If you see one of those folks, and there's a good chance you will because you can't miss them. There are only 14 of them, but they feel like they're everywhere downtown. I can't walk a block downtown without one of them saying, hey, how you doing? You doing okay today? I'm like, good, go, thank you. Really good group of folks, and they're all local. 9 of those 14 were formerly homeless, not like last year, but they've been through difficult times, and they're really good at being empathetic in how they move forward in their lives. So we really struck gold with that program. Again, only been working since the beginning of December, but it is one of the things I'm most proud of that our community is doing. Last year, for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been working on all kinds of reforms in zoning and land use. And 2 years ago, we said, all right, it's time for a reset. We've been at each other's throats about land use and zoning for too many years. Let's do a reset. Let's have some good conversations about what's possible and what makes sense. We had some land use and zoning codes that frankly didn't make a lot of sense. They were just what we had, and people got very attached to what we had. As an aside, I will tell you that one of our former city managers told me the smartest thing I've ever heard from anybody that I will share with you. The 2 things people hate most are change and the way things are. Take that with you. That is the thing that I think was at the root of a lot of our fights about land use and zoning. But by doing a good reset, we were able to work with Richard Allen and some other folks in the community and some folks who were on the let's build everything everywhere all the time, and really get those folks together and say, okay, what can you work with? What can everybody work with that feels like we're making some progress, that doesn't keep us stuck in another time? It doesn't make anybody feel threatened. And through the work of the community and the work of 2 or 3 commissioners and lots of staff burning the midnight oil, we got to a good place. We've changed some of the setbacks on standard single-family zoning and just made it a little more possible to build things in our community without going off the deep end with it. So I feel really good about that process. And what I learned from that process is if we get all the right people in the room, we can really make good progress and feel good about each other as a city. We had some storms last year, y'all may remember. And I just wanted to call out that because of our very conservative financial structure at the city of Gainesville, we had the reserves to handle everything that happened in our community. And it wasn't as bad as many communities, but we didn't have to think twice. We had the reserves to pay folks to come in and help clean up. Did they get it done as quickly as I wanted? No, I would have liked it to have been done, the weekend after the storms. But we were done faster than any community that I'm aware of in North Florida. And the overall tonnage picked up was stunning to me. It was 50,000 cubic yards of vegetative waste. We used to call those branches and trees, but vegetative waste. 50,000 cubic yards. Now, a cubic yard is about the size of your dryer at home. So 50,000 of those had to get picked up from very inconvenient spaces around the city, and we had to bring in other folks to do that. We brought in actually 2 different teams, one team to do the picking up and one to follow that team to make sure that it was verified so we'd get paid back by FEMA. And we are going to be reimbursed. But what I want you to understand is that we have, again, very conservative financial practices at the city of Gainesville that allowed us to have lots of reserves to be able to just pay for it to get done, whether we got paid back or not. We are getting paid back, which is great. The reserves will be refilled. But even if that were not the case, because of the practices of our city manager and our commission over the years, we've gotten to a point where we can do these things without breaking a sweat. So if you see one of these folks, pat them on the back and thank them for all their work. But more importantly, sleep better tonight knowing that we have good conservative financial practices at the city of Gainesville. I like to celebrate. I think it's important that the city do more celebrating. 2 years ago, Commissioner Chestnut asked why we didn't have a holiday parade, as many cities do. So we started a holiday parade, almost 100% funded by donations from around the community. Very little taxpayer money is involved in this. I think over 2 years, we might have spent $10,000 of taxpayer funds on it. But it is a terrific holiday parade. The first year, Coach Spurrier was our Grand Marshal. This past year, Shaquille O'Neal was our Grand Marshal. And I got to tell you, yes, he's enormous. I mean, the dude is big. I did not really understand how big he was until I met him. But he is unbelievably popular. I knew that people knew who Shaq was, but I was getting emails from people who do not send me nice emails saying, good work on getting Shaq to come to Gainesville. Okay, yes, I will take credit for Commissioner Chestnut having done that. Really great guy, though, and it was a lot of fun to do that parade for the second year in a row. I don't know who our Grand Marshal will be this year, but it's going to be a tough act to follow. I am thrilled that we're doing the parade again after about a 40-year hiatus. It is something that everybody can be a part of. If you're part of the University of Florida, you can be a part of that. But if you're not part of the University of Florida and you're part of our community, you can really embrace this as your thing. Not everybody feels comfortable embracing the homecoming parade. I grew up loving the homecoming parade. Not everybody feels like they can love that. Everybody gets to love the holiday parade. So look for that again this year. Very excited about continuing to do that. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm happy to take some questions. There's a whole lot of stuff I didn't talk about, both good and bad, but I'm happy to answer your questions, and I'll promise you, you're not going to ask me the worst question I've been asked as mayor. So Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for the presentation, Harvey. It was great. Conservative financial practices. Could you tell me where the Office of Diversity and Inclusion fits? Is it still relevant today? How much does it cost? And how do we measure the effectiveness of it?
So it is, first of all, I will tell you, it is mentioned in our charter. The people of Gainesville 2 or 3 decades ago said we must have, it's been called several different things, but in the charter it's the Equal Opportunity Office. And its primary function is to keep up with the federal practices and some state practices that are required of the city of Gainesville. We fund lots of what we do through federal and state grants, and all of those have to be accounted for to make sure that we're not running afoul of equal opportunity practices. That is the bulk of what they do. The total cost of the shop is about $1 million a year, just off the top of my head. It is not, contrary to what you might hear people talking on the streets, it is not out there trying to find ways to treat some people better or differently than others. It makes sure that we are following the law in our hiring practices, in oh gosh, I've lost the word, in our practices of bidding for projects and making sure that we're doing all of that right. It also runs just because that's where it ended up, not because it may or may not be the best place to be, but they run our small business division to make sure that it's easy for small businesses and minority and women-owned businesses to do business with the city of Gainesville. They run several different little seminars around the community for small business to make sure that folks can do business with the city of Gainesville well. That's what they do. Every now and then I hear that people with strange ideas about what they do, but they do things you like. Trust me, they're doing things that make the city run better. Does that answer your question? Well, it's in our charter. That's correct. Hey.
Yeah, Harvey Ward, thank you for coming and speaking with us today. And I happen to live on the east side of town, and I drive my son to Lofton Academy every day. And before that, East Side High School, he transferred over. Anyway, I'd love to see what's going on Hawthorne Road, and it's great to see. My question is about the Power District. Is there anything going on with the Power District? Like I know Anthony Lyons many moons ago had procured a contractor, a development firm, to develop that. Anything going on with that? Because of course that ties into the Sweetwater Greenway, which Greg and I are both we're really hoping that maybe one day that will happen for our downtown, and that it will connect Depot Park with the Power District and help connect this community.
So, great question. It's a question lots of people ask, and the truth is the Power District is not on the general government side of the larger city works. That is on the GRU Authority side. It's entirely the responsibility of GRU Authority, and Craig can tell you all about that. It is a great opportunity. Something good is going to happen there. Yeah, I mean, it is not going to be what it is forever. We will, as a community, be able to do some good things. I mean, we've cleaned up. I don't know if you noticed in Sweetwater Park, we've tried to get that more useful and mark the trails there a little better so that people use it more, because the more people use it, the better it is. So the Greenway is kind of happening with or without any very intentional effort to make the Greenway a thing.
Well, I've wondered how much crime is down due to the ever-present cameras that's all over town and all the convenience markets and gas stations, whatever.
So that is definitely a part of fighting crime overall. We are lucky in Gainesville to have, and I'm going to get the name of the department wrong, but there's a department at UF, and I don't know which college they work through. It's through liberal arts and sciences, but I forget exactly which one it is. They do unbelievable 21st century kind of stuff, not only with cameras, but with with super high-tech stuff about predicting where crime is likely to happen. Not who's going to do the crime, but seeing small things that develop into bigger things and stopping them before they get there. Eric, can you fill that gap in? Yes, loss prevention research something, LPRD, I think is the. So yes, that is part of crime coming down. The bigger thing that brings crime down, though, is a really great police department, a really great police chief, and Nelson Moya. If you don't know Nelson Moya, get to know him. He loves working with the community. Call him up. He'd love to talk with you. But having a great police chief, having a great police department, and having kind of engaging other city departments to work with GPD and saying not everything is a law enforcement issue. You know, doing good things with other departments makes crime less likely to happen. Working with the community more closely makes crime less likely to happen. So it's particularly with gun violence, when people say, well, what did y'all do for gun violence to be, so drastically reduced? I can't tell you exactly. We threw the whole kitchen sink at it. We said a little over 2 years ago that we declared gun violence in our community a public health crisis and said, we're going to do whatever we have to do. And part of that is law enforcement, making sure they've got the tools they need. We got really cool tools for law enforcement to be able to track spent rounds and things like that. And that is some of it. Some of it is working with young people to make sure they know that hanging out with the wrong people is not the only thing you can do after school, that there are lots of other opportunities. They're just, again, the whole kitchen sink we threw at it, and something worked. Now, the problem with that is if we start pulling things out and saying, well, maybe this wasn't part of it, and things come apart again, then it's a problem. So we have to keep doing all the things. But yes, absolutely, more technology has been useful and helpful. Now, another thing we're talking about doing, it's not uniformly popular, but I think the results will be, is red light cameras and school zone cameras that will give automated tickets with lots and lots of buffer for making mistakes. It is not going to be something that is going to be an obvious thing real quick, but as we pilot that and roll it out, we're going to, I think, see the same success that some other cities have. Who here is tired of red light runners? I mean, I am. And a way to combat that without having to put an officer at every intersection is red light cameras. So these are things that we'll be rolling out in the future to do a little more. Tom.
Harvey, can you please comment generally about the state of recreation in the city, and specifically, how can we get Ironwood back up to par?
I like the language there. So we love Ironwood. Ironwood is something that we will always have. Every time there's any conversation about doing something different with Ironwood, we are let know very quickly that we are not going to not have a municipal golf course. In a time, it's weird. All over Florida, we see communities where it's really hard to get a tee time. And in Gainesville, the Gainesville area, we see golf courses closed down. Ironwood continues to be there. It is not great, but it's good. It's okay. I would like it to be the best municipal course it could possibly be. Personally, I think the way we get there is by the city of Gainesville not directly managing it. We do a really good job with municipal pools because we have multiple municipal pools. So we know more about how to do that. We have one golf course, and it's out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. So every few years, we find ourselves saying, well, how come Ironwood has slipped? Well, it's because we're not good at running golf courses. I would like to see us bring on a company that runs municipal golf courses. I think that is the path forward to make sure that we have the best municipal course we can find. And then if it's not doing what we expect, we can hold them accountable instead of saying, well, 3 people who run our municipal golf course, how come you're not doing this out of sight, out of mind, better than you apparently are? I would like to be able to really be able to hold somebody accountable, to hold a company accountable that has resources, and I think we could probably end up, if not in the black, closer to it than we often are. So I hope that answers the question. Happy to talk about it further. All right, thanks everybody.
Mayor Ward, thank you very much for all you do for our community. On behalf of you speaking with us today, we'd like to make a donation to the Child Center for Early Learning. Thank you. A little bit of trivia. So my dad served on Cynthia Chestnut's first campaign as our treasurer. That was back in 1987. Let's see. Next week's speakers. So we have Dr. Teresa Beachy.
Are you all right?
I guess I'm out of time. Dr. Teresa Beachy will be our speaker next week. She's with the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. The quote for the week: knowledge is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it on a fruit salad. And that's Miles Kington. The Rotary Reading Safari drawing number is 502-502. And that, the meeting is adjourned.